Hi, everyone. My name is John Bristow. Thank you for your time and attention. Joining us here on today's webinar entitled Introducing Kubernetes Live Object Status. I'm the community director here at Octopus Deploy. We're really glad to have you join us here for today's webinar featuring Kit and Nick. Before I turn things over to them, just wanted to go through a couple of housekeeping notes here, just so you are aware of some of the things that we'll be showing. Don't worry if you miss anything during today's webinar. It is being recorded. You'll find it up on our YouTube channel, which is at youtube.com/Octopus Deploy. There you'll find the recording along with all kinds of great little videos, etc., that you can check out. We have webinars, we have tutorials, we have introduction videos that you can take a look at. So make sure you check that out. Like and subscribe, as the kids like to say. We are also have a number of other webinars available at octopus.com/webinars. You can see the one that we're hosting here today. We have a series of webinars called Octopus 101. These are basically a way to see you kick the tires with Octopus. If you haven't seen Octopus before, you can check it out by visiting octopus.com/webinars. There you'll find our Octopus 101 series if you're at all interested in a introduction. In addition to that, another resource that I like to cite is our roadmap. As I always say, make it a bookmark, if not your homepage. This is at roadmap.octopus.com. And one of the features we'll be highlighting in today's webinar is this one called Kubernetes Live Object Status, which Kit and Nick will take you through. And finally, lastly, but not leastly, feel free to join our community over at octopus.com/community. There you'll find a bunch of resources, including our Slack channel. We have over 7,000 members who are in our Slack channel waiting to hear from you. Now, if you have any questions during today's webinar, feel free to take advantage of the Q&A. We have obviously integration with all the social media networks that you're joining from. Let us know where you're joining from. Also, don't be afraid to submit your questions. We will answer them live. And so with that, I'd like to turn things over to Kit and Nick for this exciting session on Kubernetes Live Object Status.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, John. Yeah, this is just amazing. So good to be here and present this new amazing improvement for Octopus. So let's jump straight in. Today, we're talking about the new capability in Octopus developed specifically for Kubernetes, and it's a lot of things to cover. So we'll just go through it right now. Who we have today? Nick is our senior engineering manager running the team, and I'm a product manager. We all work on Kubernetes experience in Octopus and basically responsible for what we're going to show you today. Who is this webinar useful for? So everyone who deploys to Kubernetes and have entry to mid-level Octopus and Kubernetes experience, you'll find something new for you here, or even if you're a more experienced user, you might find it interesting how Octopus solved this particular problem for you. What are we going to talk about? So first and foremost, we'll talk about what the Kubernetes Live Object Status is, why we build this, what are the main capabilities, and why you might benefit from it. Then Nick dives deep into how it works, what's behind the scenes, what's the mechanics of this feature. So if you consider implementing that, you should know properly what it involves. Then we'll show you the demo. It's always the best part. So you can see how we click through and get some live data streamed. So you can imagine doing this yourself. And then we'll talk about what configuration is supported. So what you need to have to make it work on your instance. Finally, we'll, as usual, need your feedback on where to go next, because now this feature is early access and it's still not active development. We're going to invest way more hours and engineer brains into this. So we need your help to understand which of those improvements we need to prioritize and ship sooner. And finally, as a summary, again, we'll walk through how you can, step-by-step things you need to do right now to enable live object status on your instance. And we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So post your questions in the chat, and some of them we can even talk through when we speak, because, well, it might be the best place to answer some of them during the presentation. Okay, so why Kubernetes Live Object Status? First and foremost, what it is. It's a live stream of data from your cluster for all the deployed applications. With this new capability, we just turned Octopus into one platform, not just to deploy, but also to monitor and troubleshoot your applications. So after you deployed a certain list of objects to the cluster, you'll start getting real-time updates from a cluster, and these updates would be within deployment context. So if you think about something like Lens or Kubernetes dashboard, and you're looking at the screen, you'll get information about all the objects running on the cluster, regardless of if that's the object you deployed or something which was deployed by other team 6 months ago. With Octopus, you have access only to what you deployed, so you have less noise. And at the same time, you know exactly what was changed or done by your project. So this is a benefit. And who will benefit from this? We build it in a very friendly way, so there is nothing complicated or too technical. It works for both like developers and people on the platform, like DevOps engineers and platform engineers side. And it's actually quite beginner friendly. So again, it's self-explanatory. You don't need to dive deep in Kubernetes at the very beginning. You can just understand if it's healthy or not and what objects are deployed. And if you dive deeper, you can just inspect further and become more technical. But again, at the beginning, nothing complicated is there. So when it's particularly useful, over the last 3 years, we got a lot of insights and heard a lot of feedback about how hard it is not to just deploy to Kubernetes, but verify the deployment, troubleshoot it, and basically the hard part comes after deployment actually happened. So that's why an Octopus before didn't help it that much, right? So you could deploy the project, you saw if it would deploy successfully or not, but then you would really tell if it's still live and if maybe container couldn't start or Kubernetes had some issues with memory or other resources. The whole point of this feature is now you can tell that. Now you don't need to leave Octopus, you don't need to use other tools, and you need to have access to the cluster. For example, you don't need to provide a privileged cluster access to your cluster in production to run kubectl commands. Now it's all in Octopus. So why it's good is because you have more self-service. So now your application team don't need to call platform team every time they have an issue. They can start investigation themselves. And another reason is confidence. Even if you have access to the cluster, I've also heard a lot of people tell us they are not really comfortable doing those investigations because they might break something. So with this feature, you can't break things unless run a runbook. The live object itself, it's just for observation troubleshooting. So no matter if you click through get logs, extract events, and doing this in production or other environments, it's safe. So you can be confident that you're not making any changes, you're not making things worse, you're just investigating. So that's why you might use it. So what's inside? In a nutshell, the most notable thing you will see immediately after you enable this is this dashboard. So all the projects on the main dashboard or in the project dashboard are now live. You see this like green heart, red heart, and other icons for all the environments, all the projects in real time. We usually update it every minute or so. So basically, this dashboard is now could be your like one source of reference about how your deployment are doing right now, regardless of when you actually deployed. All most important information about the health is here, and clicking on those icons, you can go straight to the live page. And when you go to the live page, you see a bit more details. Now you can see for a given environment, if the application is healthy, when at what version was deployed. You can see all the list of objects, like what was included in your manifest. It's good, especially if it's something like Helm or customized and you don't necessarily immediately see which objects were meant to be deployed. Here you can validate that. And as you see, you can see the live status and basic information per object. But you can go in deeper. If you click on the object, you'll see the information. Oh, you can actually see the manifest as well. Sorry. You can go in the deployment and click Applied Manifest, and now you can have the view of all the manifests for all the objects deployed. You can inspect them, and for example, this screen is good if you want to understand some variable replacement, which you meant to do, and you weren't sure if it was working as expected, or you can validate some deployment templating, like again customizations or Helm values application. So here you see the plain YAML as it was deployed to the cluster, and if you compare that to your manifest, you can see the changes and start some debugging. And right now, our team is working on diffs, so you can actually see, compare the compare manifest deployed with previous and current release, or live manifest running in the cluster versus the manifest which was deployed. And that's coming in the next few weeks. So debugging would be even simpler. And finally, from the live screen, you can go into object details. So for every object, you have a summary with the annotations and the status. You can have events, very good for debugging. You can have live manifest, basically what is now configured in the cluster. And for some objects where you have logs, you can actually have pod logs. So you can see like what's going on in your container. How to enable all that? So in a nutshell, there is nothing to enable, it just works. You need to have, the only condition is you need to deploy with Kubernetes agent. So if you have agent right now, you just need to update it, not update it, actually enable the feature. Nick will talk about this a bit more. And if you don't use the agent, just install the agent and do the deployment. And yes, don't forget to flip the toggle at the very top of the main dashboard. There is like live view. As soon as you click it, you'll start streaming the data. Okay, Nick, over to you. How it actually works.
Oh, thanks, Kit. Oh, there we go. All right, how it's built. So as Kit mentioned, the monitor, it runs inside the Kubernetes cluster, and it's a lightweight process pod that runs alongside your deployed apps. The team built it with gRPC as a communication mechanism between the on-cluster process and Octopus server, and we found that that was the right choice. It's performing very well, and our future plans are just to further tune through this EAP phase, further tune the frequency of updates at larger and larger scales. The monitor itself is written in Go. This was our team's first big push into writing a service or a new capability in a new language. And the choice around Go was to be able to leverage what was in the community around Kubernetes. That's the sort of de facto language in the space. And it allowed us to easily make use of things out there already that are open source, including the Argo CD's GitOps engine, which we use for resource caching. So on the back of that, our future plans are to make it source available first. So when practical, we'll share the source, and then we can talk and hear back more if there's desire of making it open source, and see what that would entail. Expanding on how it works, we leverage for like straightforward status terminology. Everything that's already sort of existing should be familiar for people within this space. Got a sample of all the different statuses on the right there. And as Kit mentioned, it comes bundled when you're deploying the Octopus Kubernetes agent. So if it's a new install, it'll come along for the ride, and you'll see that in the extra Helm commands. But for existing customers, we really did want to make it opt-in. So this is not an automatic upgrade. You need to add, need to add specific parameters and do an explicit upgrade where you're opting in to, start streaming, to have the capability to stream this data out of your cluster into your Octopus instance. Just as a refresher for people that are new or are not yet using the Kubernetes agent, again, it's the Kubernetes agent itself that you leverage from Octopus installed in your cluster is just a different lightweight application. Once it's installed within a cluster, it reaches out and registers itself with the Octopus server, and it ends up as a deployment target in your Octopus deploy environment. And this lets you deploy applications, manifests, all of that, manages all the credentials and the custom tooling to make deploying into Kubernetes easier. All right, with that introduction, oh, sorry, I missed a slide. That's right. So just for consistency, all the granular access controls that we have in Octopus apply both to the Octopus agent and the monitor itself. So whatever the agent and whatever the agent is able to deploy to, the monitor will be able to help monitor those Kubernetes resources as well. Here we are. Okay, now we're ready for the demo. So I will switch screen. Oh, look at that. I don't have to hit a button. All right. So as predicted or as prepared, we have our existing set of projects that I've been deploying to Kubernetes. And so the sake of the objective of the demo today is to show you the improvements that are going to help engineers get back to what matters most. And so we all want to see the apps we build, build well, ship, and then run well. So the engineering teams can return and focus on what matters most, which is adding value in terms of improving capabilities of your applications and fixing known bugs. And the standard we want to see is this screen. So in the past, just deploying an Octopus, you would see just a field of green. Now, as we said, when you come in and turn live status on, once you're all set up, including a link here if this is your entry point, once you hit this, you will see that everything is healthy. Hooray! Look at that, just as I'd planned. So we're done. Everything's great. Everything's deployed. Everything's running healthy. Well, I guess there's nothing else to see. Except that's probably not the standard case for your applications. Something's going to go wrong. So let me just double check something that was going wrong earlier, and we'll come back and look at these healthy ones in a little bit. This is me just loading something off screen to double check. Yes, okay. So, all right. In a healthy world, right, where everything's working well, we can drill in to our projects and see the breakdown here of all the Kubernetes resources and see what status they're in. As we click through, we can see a summary, events and logs, which I'll get to, and importantly, manifests. So we can drill down here and see that what we've deployed, what is live, is what we expect. All right. Now, this is, at this point where everything's healthy and green, that's okay. There's nothing to solve here. But I went ahead and broke something earlier. And not just one thing, several things. So here's some I broke earlier. All right. Now, when you see a field of red like this, you might think, well, it's probably not my fault. I might as well go have some lunch and come back. And it might just get better when I return. But in this scenario, that's not the case because I went out of my way to break each of these things uniquely. And some of them won't recover anytime soon. This progressing state, we'll come back to that one as well. All right. So let's drill in. Let's say this is a standard day as one of your application teams here. And this is now, like we mentioned, a great entry point to help work out what's going on. So as we drill in to a service we've deployed, application, we see here sort of a bit of a state of what's been going on in the cluster where it's actually tried to provision the pod multiple times. As we drill in, we could see events. The events aren't helping us. The logs aren't helping us in this case. But in this case, in this one, as we explore, we can see, maybe start looking for something that might trigger us to work out what's going on. Okay, so here's an example of one that won't recover. So I left some debugging code in where it will, on startup, it will exit one. So we've deliberately forced here, as you can tell for demo's sake, a degraded instance of this pod. So here we want the developers, application teams who are best placed to follow along as their applications flow through different environments, to be able to zoom in, so dive in deep and see if the same kinds of errors are happening per environment, right? Is it something fundamental to the application, or is it specific to the environment? Here in this scenario, we can see that the same state, this sort of same version, as it automatically progressed through the same environments, as it progressed through different environments, has become degraded in the same way. So here in this scenario, we could probably, it would be safe to start investigating that, okay, this is probably an application change that's resulted in this. But look at scenarios down here, we might see that, okay, when we have a difference between environments, there might be something more specific going wrong to each of these, depending on which cluster they're running on and depending what else is in the mix here. Okay, so as an application engineer here, I can start diagnosing these things and work out if it's within my sort of understanding or capability or access controls to go and improve this, or do I need help? Do I need to escalate this to someone? I wanted to make use of a little flowchart I quickly created yesterday to sort of set the scene for this. Okay, so we saw it degraded, and now we're thinking, you know, is it broken? And applications break in many different ways. You know, dependency is an application dependency, something my application depends on, has unexpectedly changed. Maybe a certificate or a secret has been rotated or expired. Or maybe even just there was infrastructure changes or infrastructure requests that I made that are no longer compatible. So a little bit tongue-in-cheek, I created this diagram, this flowchart to say, okay, is it broken? Can you fix it? And we see a lot of teams doing this, where someone will just say no. They don't even really think about this question. They go, no, I can't fix it. And I really wanted to highlight this. Are you going to be part of the solution? If you say no, then you're really just handing over this flaming package of broken things, and you're going to get back to work and you're not going to learn anymore. But if you think you can try to fix it, then this is what we're trying to empower here. Empower more engineers to accelerate troubleshooting. So I'll try. I went and searched. I looked at the logs. Yeah. I keep trying. I involve others. Yes. Yeah, we work it out, or I can speed up someone else to help me fix it. So if we go back to some of these, I will look around now for some of the ones that I wanted to show you some of the other possible interesting states on. Logs. Okay. So here on these logs, as an example, I was trying to write some additional startup code here. This one, it somehow made it through all of the tests and packaging up. But as it started to execute, as it sort of was rolled out within the cluster, it fell over. We can go here and see the manifests that we talked about. This one, these managed fields, we're going to, we promise we'll try and fix that when we can. So it's sort of collapsed by default, so you can save you some clicks. And here we can see the specs in the container where, again, we've made some application-specific error, and I can go back and resolve this within code, package that up, and have it flow through again. Okay. Now, if we look at some of our other degraded applications, as we drill in here, trying to show more interesting logs. These are the logs we live stream back. These are streamed sort of just in time. And this is what's thrown me a little bit this morning. I was trying to show some of the successful streams of logs. I will jump back to some screenshots where I had those. That one, the demo gods actually did get in my way this morning. There is a cluster I was relying on to be streaming this data, but I think some of our cleanup processes have bitten me on that. But luckily, I took some screenshots a few hours ago where it was running. And as we sort of dived into those logs here, I could see the worker logs. What I wanted to highlight here in the UI is we also have different toggles of modes. If you want to quickly, if your log line's are long and you want to sort of skim through it quickly, you can do the wrapping. You can turn on and off timestamps, and the search will work as well. Okay, let me get back to where we were next. So zooming out again here, the goal, what we're trying to empower for people diving in and looking at the live information from the cluster is, are they in a position to solve the problem? Is it within their control or is it out of their control, and how to escalate things? Okay, I wanted to also next show how, for those that are zooming out again, for those that are new to Octopus, or at least new to deploying their applications to Kubernetes, what some of the other features alongside this sort of help with. So this is where I wanted to quickly touch on the concept of our project variables, where as applications are rolling through different environments, we have the ability to scope variables for specific environments, or to make use of environment variables. So here on this one, as it's rolling through our my different testing clusters, the application namespace is generated based on the environment. And so now let's go look at those environments, because that's going to be our way to show how we go and set up a new agent and therefore a monitor. So if we go to the environments first to see that I have development, QA, and production, and those match the environments that our applications were progressing through. And this is where you would come and add and reorder these as it expanded or as the need grew. And here are the actual links into the clusters, the development, the deployment targets. So I have a production cluster and I have a pre-production cluster that handles the development and QA. So if these were existing agents, this bit of functionality is not yet complete in this process, and that's where I was going to bring up the docs to show us quickly. We have a little bit of manual work we need people to do to set up to perform that opt-in upgrade for existing agents, and that's where you go and get your existing agent and you fill in these details. Right? You fill in your cloud instance. Right, the cloud instance matches here. You can set up a new API key. That's pretty simple. You can either have that linked to a service account or one of your admin users, and the space that you're registering it for. So I'll go and show those now. Back here. How did I lose that tab already? Unbelievable. There we are. Alrighty, so when we would add a new deployment target and we opt in for a Kubernetes agent here, this is the agent name. So live webinar, and we're going to have this one just be on development and QA, and it's going to make use of the same target tags. This is how you link steps in a deployment process to a particular deployment target. In this case, it would be this agent on these this agent on these specific on this specific cluster that I'm about to link it to with these specific environments. As we hit next, we have our baseline, a foundational requirement of the agent, which is the NFS storage. All the details about that are on the docs, but my cluster already has that set up, so I can skip over that. And here we can see the install the Kubernetes agent. This is the Helm command we're talking about, and these were the same details that you would need here. So this is the Octopus instance that I'm using. I'll bring this closer to the docs so we can switch over. So there is the instance URL and the API key. In this case, in this example, it's a server access token. The space I'm on, and there's that machine name. So that's that. Yeah, machine name is what we call it, but this is the name of your agent. And so that section there, that's all you need. So you could always come, if you have existing Kubernetes agents and you want to leverage this, just come in and be ready to set up a new one. Grab these details, fill in a different API key that you've set up, and this is what you can run here in terms of Helm upgrade, Atomic, and upgrade your agent, and you'll opt into the monitoring there. But if you're continuing on the new path of setting up a new agent, you would grab this, and I'll just run this off screen quickly in my terminal that's on the cluster. Yes, this bit I couldn't get ready earlier, or maybe I could have. Okay, typing this in, and we're gonna hit close on that. We will see. Oops, I don't hit random enters there. All right, so the demigods have not been on my side so far for the existing healthy state, but we'll see how we go setting up one of these. So yes, it's running, does not install, installing now. It's performing a health check, and we will have another agent running in a different namespace, in a different partition now, to deploy and monitor our applications. Yes. Coming health check. All right. Kit, now that you're back, is there something I missed that we wanted to cover, or did we have
I
any
think you
questions?
covered the demo. Thanks, Nate.
Yes.
I also want to just comment on the question we had in the chat, and this is about permissions. And that's a great question. So it's one of the key features of Octopus, right? It's we allow people to configure their permissions, and people shouldn't see what they are not supposed to see. So Octopus, I already actually answered in the chat with this link. This is about user permissions. It's just in paragraph now, but we'll add more very soon. So in a nutshell, Kubernetes Live Object Status permissions are controlled by deployment view permission Octopus. And as you know, you can assign these permissions very granular. So you can say that this group of users can see only those environments in this project, and this group of users can see only those environments. So you can do this in Octopus, but also you can go back into the cluster and control this on the cluster level. So you can literally block monitor through server roles, block it to go into certain namespaces. And this is another way if you want this extra level of control. Obviously, you can just disable monitor on some clusters if you don't want to get any information from this cluster by anyone. That's also possible. And one extra thing is we can't guarantee like 100%, but Octopus has a logics to do the best effort, and it actually works most of the time, to obfuscate all the secrets. So if you obviously have some secrets in your Kubernetes objects, Octopus will not show them on the screen, unless if you do something like unorthodox and maybe added secrets as an annotation or as a comment or something like that, where it's not expected, then it might get through. But in most cases, even if the user has access to, let's say, production logs, they might not be able to observe sensitive data anyway. So yeah, I hope it answered the question. Let me know if not. Okay, let's go back to, and thanks for the question, by the way. Let's go back to the slides. Let's talk about a little bit what is supported by the agents. So basically, at the moment, you can't get live object status for everything, but you can get it for quite a few things. So first of all, most of the Kubernetes steps are supported. If you deploy with any of those steps, Helm, Customize, plain YAML, or any of the UI built-in steps, you will get the live status. You won't get it yet if you deploy with scripts, but it's coming. So right now, a team is working on giving you the function where you can, that you would be able to include in your script to just send the data to trace to the monitor. So that would be there, like hopefully in a few weeks. But all the other steps already available. Targets. For now, Kubernetes agent is requirement. So it doesn't work with API because we need something live on the cluster to stream the data back. However, there is nothing you cannot do with code. So we're considering, and I'll talk about a few things we're considering as well. We're considering adding the API target support. It's quite a tedious thing. So here we need your feedback. Let us know if it's required. Kubernetes agent is still the default, so we hope that most people will use it. But if there are edge cases, I would really, really love to hear about them. Finally, hosting platform. Again, for now, it's early access program, so we're still working on the feature. So it's available only for Octopus Cloud customers. However, we hope to ship it later this year, maybe August, to the self-hosted customers, and then add more and more features on top of it. But the main thing which we're working on is like enable this for self-hosted. What's now currently on the roadmap? This is important because this feature is just the beginning, right? So we have a live status and we know what's going on in the cluster, and we can do so many things with that. So here we really need your help to find the right way and the right balance in what's useful and what's maybe not nice to have, so we may build it later. So we are thinking about those 5 next improvements, which we're going to ship within the next couple of months. And first and foremost, as I mentioned, is supporting script steps, so you can start monitoring any custom configuration you have. Second is add object pruning. This is all about if your new release doesn't have an object which was included in the previous one. For example, you change config map name, right? Or you removed some deployment of pods which you don't need anymore. Octopus right now won't cut these objects. They will keep running on the cluster. So with this feature, we can enable Octopus to actually delete old objects. So you don't have to do it yourself. Continuous reconciliation. It's like another step on top of that. It's when Octopus can do it in real time. So as soon as you see, Octopus now can show you if the configuration is out of sync. So for example, if someone went to the cluster, changed configuration with the kubectl command, and now you don't have, I don't know, you have more replicas than you meant to have, or someone killed the service. Octopus will show you that it's out of sync, but it won't fix it. With continuous reconciliation, Octopus would be able to apply configuration again. So all the changes, all the direct changes would be wiped out. Another one is custom health checks. And this is all about the set of objects we support. For now, we support quite a few of built-in, most known objects. So you won't have issues if you use deployment services, ingresses, all that stuff. However, you might have some custom CRDs or not so popular objects deployed with Octopus. In this case, Octopus will show you that the object is synced, but it won't show you if it's healthy or not. So with this custom health checks, you'd be able to add custom checks and use your code to determine health of the object. And finally, what I mentioned is API target support. So if you have a use case why you would like to use that live object status with API targets, again, let us know. How do you let us know? There is link to the roadmap octopus.com. You can open it. All the cards are there. I'll show you this page in a second, and you can just vote there or leave a comment. Actually, let me show it now. John, can I? Yep, thank you. So this is our roadmap. John showed it in the morning. under consideration in the cloud native space, you can see all the features I just mentioned. It's like API target support and continuous reconciliation and custom health checks and object pruning. So if you have anything to add here, you just can click how important it is for you. Let's say important, and then leave a comment and leave your email address. So we can maybe ask you a few more questions to learn more about your feedback. So let us know, and yeah, please don't hesitate. And if you have something else, let's say we didn't think about a major improvement which we must have, you can go here, click on the Kubernetes Live Object Status, and give us feedback here. Even if it's released, it doesn't mean we don't read it. We actually read it always. So you can say, hey guys, you didn't think about this, but I need that for this feature to actually work for me. So don't hesitate. And of course, I mean, we're all in community Slack, so you can also find us there. It's totally fine. Okay, let's go back to the slides. Thank you. Okay, as an other extra thing, we're also working on, we're just kicking on off the new project, Argos in Octopus. It's also on the roadmap, and now we're looking for people who would like to be the early adopters of it and give us, like, you know, a lot of early feedback and join the private beta. So if you want to do that, comment on the card. And as you know, as you maybe noticed, this is like a natural progression from the features we showed before. So this is the plan for later this year. I'm really excited to kick off this work as well. Okay, let's sum it up. How can I try Kubernetes Live Status if I want to do it today? So first of all, I need to be in Octopus Cloud. Let's say you are in Octopus Cloud. What's next? First of all, update or install the agent. Takes 5 seconds. To update it, just run a helm command to enable the monitor. Again, we don't want to start streaming data from your cluster without you knowing or giving permission. So please run this helm command. Or 5 minutes if you want to add the new agent. You don't need to reconfigure anything. Just add the agent, add the right environment tags, and target tags. That's it. Your process, your deployment project will just work. Then deploy it. If you haven't deployed this project before, or you haven't deployed with the agent, just run a new deployment. And then flick the toggle, and yeah, it will work. You can share feedback about the feature with us right there. So you'll see this call out at the top of the Live page where you can click the Give Feedback button. And that's a direct link to our team. So if you have something broken, something is not clear enough, you would like to improve in the UI, you have an edge case, that's the way to tell us, and we'll come back to you soon. And we have the whole team like looking into this and working on these hotfixes right now. So you have a direct channel. We don't usually do that, but for this one, because it's such a big and new capability, we have it so we can have a direct feedback channel with the team. Yeah, and help us to improve. This is early days, so we would really love to hear from you. Okay, that's it. We ran through the presentation, talked a lot about the feature. We even answered a question from the chat. Do we have any other questions or anything we can help with? Let's maybe give people like 10 seconds. And you're muted, John.
Snafu. There you go.
That's better.
Great stuff, Kit and Nick. Thank you very much. Appreciate, obviously, the demo and the slides. Great feature. Really looking forward to it. While you're thinking about your questions, feel free to submit them to the Q&A pane or whatever pane you have, how you're viewing this. Send us a comment. We'll answer it live. Just want to remind you all of some of the resources that we have available. So while you're thinking of your questions, don't forget we have our webinars listed at octopus.com/webinars. There you'll find a page that looks like this. This is the one they're hosting today. We have some others that are coming. We have a lot more coming, believe me, and we may actually get Kit and Nick back on to talk a little bit more about some other things. We also have, as Kit rightly mentioned, our roadmap. Make it a bookmark, at least make it a bookmark. We also have a page that's really interesting. It's at octopus.com/Kubernetes. There you'll see a page that looks like this. If you're at all wondering, like, what is the summary of all this? Like, in its totality, what does Kubernetes support in Octopus look like? You can go to this URL here and you'll see not only videos, but we have a white paper that's listed. We have a bunch of resources available. If you want to get a one-stop shop of everything that you need to know around Kubernetes with Octopus Deploy, you can go to this URL here and check it out. And finally, don't forget, we also have the recording of this webinar available up on our YouTube channel, which is at youtube.com/octopusdeploy. I think that was a lot of tap dancing from me waiting for questions. We don't have any questions at the moment. As far as next steps are concerned, obviously, this is available as an EAP, correct, Kit?
Yep, it's available as JP in cloud right now.
Yep. And then longer term, eventually it will come to folks who are self-hosted. And then presumably in some future date, we'll add more features as, are they going to be featured as EAP, I guess, for the more roadmap stuff that you mentioned earlier?
AP is basically for get early feedback on UX and usability, and then also till we landing this for on-prem customers. As soon as we release it for on-prem, we just won't have the AP stage anymore because it's not early access, and we'll just keep adding features. So that what's on the roadmap, we will prioritize and work on this year. So it's not somewhere like next year or 2 years later. It's actually happening now. That's why we need feedback, and there will be probably more. So we have a platform, and now this platform is actually quite not easier, but easier. It's sooner, faster to build new additions.
Awesome stuff. And just wanted to, Nick, just wanted to make sure that we mentioned everything. There was also a demo of diff unfolding as well.
Yes, yeah. If we could bring that up, that's where and that's an example of a piece of feedback we get right away from customers when we show them the manifest view, like I did in the demo. It's, hey, I would love to see the diff of this, is the very first question we get. So here's a little sneak peek of what's right now in development. It's just a few weeks away still, or if not sooner with Easter coming up. But yeah, here on the loop, you could just see, okay, in that same view, once we start inspecting the manifest, we can see what's actually changed. So that was something I couldn't show today on the instance I was using, but we're not far off from that.
Very, very cool. Awesome stuff. All right. I'm not seeing any questions or comments on the incoming feed. So thanks a lot, Kit. Thanks a lot, Nick. And thank you for your time and attention joining us for today's webinar. Don't forget to find all our webinars online as well. And hopefully you'll be able to use Kubernetes Live Object Status for your projects going forward inside of Octopus. Really exciting stuff. Well, from all of us, all of you, happy deployments, everyone. Take care.